everyone and welcome to deal 4 of the masterclass. This one we have a normal 15-point balanced hand. We open 1 no trump. Partners bid stamen and we have 4 spades. So we 2 spades and partners raised again. So the opponents have led the Queen of Diamonds, which feels a little bit nerve-wracking because it's very somebody's going to have a reasonably short suit no matter what, but it might even be that someone has a singleton because we have 8 cards in that suit. So we're always a little bit suspicious when the opponents lead one of our long suits. We don't have an easy base hand, so we can kind of choose. You can either choose to use the dummy as the base hand, which will be because you have a long side suit there that you might be able to establish. Or you can choose to use Declarer's hand as the base hand if you're going to decide to ruff a couple of hearts instead. So those seem like the likely 2 alternatives. Which one should you choose? Well, the opponents have led a diamond, so it looks like it's going to be quite difficult to establish the diamonds. We're expecting a lot of the time that there's going to be a 4-1 break, as we mentioned before. So if we draw 3 rounds of trumps and then start trying to establish diamonds, we might find first of all that our entries get messed up, and second of all that we only actually manage to gain 1 extra winner in that suit. 1 length winner in that suit to throw something away on. Plus, we won't even be throwing anything that useful away because we'll kind of be assuming that the base hand is the dummy. However, if we ruff 2 hearts, it's a reasonably safe thing to do because we've got high trumps in the dummy, so we're not going to be over ruffed, and because we're expecting that the diamonds probably won't break, we just have to be a little bit careful about which hand we win the first trick in. So if anybody is short, then it's very likely to be east, because it looks like this queen is from a sequence. People don't normally lead singleton honours, although of course it sometimes happens. It's much more likely that it's going to be from Queen Jack 10 or something like that, or even Queen Jack 9. So with that in mind, we are thinking West is going to deliberately try to win the round of hearts that we play. And then when they play a diamond for their partner to ruff, we want to be able to let them ruff thin air. So we will choose to win in the dummy. And then you'll kind of see how it happens. It'll be a bit easier to visualize. They play another diamond. They ruff, but now because they're ruffing before us, we can choose for them to be ruffing a loser anyway. They had the ace of clubs, which is good news. Play another club. And now we can ruff a heart. Be very, very careful what you do now because you don't want to get ruffed in clubs. That's not the safe thing to do, and you know you're going to get ruffed in diamonds. So when you go back to your hand, you should cross in trumps. So now that we've taken a ruff, we've actually created a shorthand. So you can start to see what we're visualizing here with the ruffing. In the shorthand, we didn't have one before, but here it becomes visible. Cross over, and now we only need to ruff 1 more heart. We'll do high just to make our entries a bit simpler. And now we can draw the trumps. So here we had a little bit of a debate at the beginning. Depending on which line we took, it would have made more or less sense to think of our hand or the dummy as the base hand. A lot of this is from experience, so Usually when you've got a long side suit that you might want to establish, then you think of that hand as the base hand. But here, because we were deciding that we didn't want to do that and we wanted to ruff hearts instead, then by creating a shorthand by ruffing the second round of hearts, we would then naturally create our base hand as the declaring hand. So it's a bit easier to visualize after you've already made a ruff. But you do get used to this as you get more experienced.